Hi, and congratulations on completing week 5. I know we're going into Thanksgiving, so I'm going to keep this video pretty short, but I wanted to do a couple of quick words on what I was looking for in week 5 and kind of areas where the class stumbled together. So with that in mind, we had 2 assignments, a discussion post and a paper. On your discussion question, after reading Bailey's article on interpreting parables, find 2 sermons or interpretive works focused on the interpretation of the prodigal son. And I think folks did a really good job coming up with a variety of different interpretations. I wanted to kind of drill in on context because to me, and one of the things we've spent a lot of time in this class is what is the context of the writing of that passage? And in this case, the context is a discussion between Jesus and the Pharisees. And so as you look at this interpretation, is it about the father, is it about the son, or is it about the older brother? And what can we draw from that conversation, knowing that Jesus is hanging out with low-level sinners and being essentially condemned by the Pharisees? And pretty easily you can see that Jesus is in fact the father, or God is the father, that the sinners are the wayward son, or the prodigal son, and then the Pharisees are the older brother. Then we have to decide, why is Jesus telling them that, and who then is the focus of this interpretation? And that helps ground us, because it's easy to write a sermon on the father, it's easy to write a sermon on the prodigal son, and it's easy to write a sermon on the brothers, but really, where does the crux of Jesus's comments come in? And I think rightly, many say that the older brother is the focus, because he's who Jesus is basically talking to here, saying you should be welcoming the prodigal son back. And yet that's not really the focus of the story, but that is the focus of the context. So I was looking for quality of the 2 you selected. Did you select haphazardly, or did you spend some time really trying to come up with some good sermons or good sources? And on whole, the class did fine. Summary of the sources, exploring the critical understanding of the context and the purpose to the parable. And we did pretty good. There were a few deductions in that area. Examination of the strengths and weaknesses for each. If I felt like somebody was really just kind of going through the motions, I took some off there. And then discussion on how the 2 are similar and different, same. And then your conclusion, analyzing which is the stronger position, and some personal reflection on how to apply the passage in ministry. So again, on whole, the class did great. For each of these 5 areas that I graded, there were some deductions here and there, but the scores were B level to A level across the board. Okay, then on assignment 5.1, it was a paper where you were to do literary forms of the gospel, and you were to look at the steps laid out in lecture 12 and to evaluate Matthew 8:28 to 34. So the keys were understanding the setting of the parable, both the historical setting and the cultural setting, uncover the need that prompted the parable, similar to what we had in our discussion post, analyze the structure and detail of the parable, state the central truth of the parable and its relationship to the kingdom, and then I wanted to see a summary and some reflections. Scores here were still very good, but I think that we could have improved on a few of the papers, and they got deducted. But anytime you do an analysis, not only in this class for the last 3 weeks, but every class, keep these 6 steps in mind: is understanding the setting, understanding the need for writing, analyze the structure, come to the central truth, look for its relationship to the kingdom in Christ, And then finally, a summary and reflection. This is a great basic template for how to do all of your analyses now and going forward. All right, so we had 4 steps that I specifically was looking for. Compare parallel passages, identify the form of the gospel, identify background information, and determine the message of the passage. So I wanted to see evidence that you were structuring your paper along these 4 steps. So with that said, I will hop out and say have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for all your hard work and your efforts so far this semester. For me, it's been a great semester. I know that there's a lot of work, but I feel like everyone is improving, which is what I want to see over the 8 weeks that we have together. So have a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you soon, and enjoy fall.